And I'm so sick and tired of the media pointing the finger at Donald Trump and saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it.
The chaos continues as The View spirals further out of control, and for good reason. A commentator noted that Whoopi is essentially lecturing Karoline Leavitt on how to do the press secretary's job, which is downright laughable. Karoline, the fearless, sharp-witted, and unapologetically bold conservative powerhouse, just unleashed a legal bombshell so massive that ABC executives are scrambling to do damage control.
Commentator said, Whoopi is mansplaining the press secretary job to Karoline Leavitt. Hilarious.
And here's the kicker, she didn't even have to step foot on The View set to make it happen. This came after yet another vile and completely disconnected attack from Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin.
Echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie, and yes, you will take political.
Karoline didn't just respond, she went all in. Now, the fallout is so intense that behind-the-scenes chatter suggests a full-blown crisis brewing.
About the fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a to democracy for the better half of 10 years.
Insiders report that ABC executives are frantically trying to convince Karoline to stand down before things spiral even further out of control.
He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political that has led to 2 heinous attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political violence because he's experienced it himself.
But let's be honest, this situation has already gone way past the breaking point. So what exactly did Karoline say that drove Whoopi into a total meltdown, left Joy Behar visibly shaken, and for once rendered Sunny Hostin completely speechless?
Let's talk about how they have compared him to one of the worst masks in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him.
Oh, you definitely don't want to miss this. Let's set the stage. The View thought they could take a shot at Karoline Leavitt and face no repercussions. Huge miscalculation.
Joy Behar stunned viewers when she said Donald Trump's press secretary, 27-year-old Karoline Leavitt, only secured her position because of her good look.
The remark was truly baffling, especially coming from Joy Behar, who is as progressive as they come and constantly presents herself as a staunch advocate for feminism. In a recent episode, the hosts of The View completely lost control, launching a ruthless and unwarranted attack on Karoline for one simple reason: daring to be a young, successful conservative woman.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
The comment was bizarre, especially coming from Joy Behar, who is as woke as they come and positions herself as a champion of feminism.
They didn't just question her qualifications, they attempted to discredit her entirely. With her usual smug demeanor and condescending attitude, Joy Behar dismissed Karoline's intelligence, experience, and political knowledge as if none of it was relevant.
Woman.
This online commentator said, disgusting Joy Behar of The View accuses Karoline Leavitt of being hired only because Donald Trump thought she was a 10. Karoline Leavitt actually comes with real job qualifications, unlike Biden's DEI hires, Joyless Behar. This commentator doubled down, saying Karoline Leavitt was only hired by Donald Trump because she's a 10. You know that what it is. Actually, she's quite capable, unlike the last press secretary who was only hired because she was a black lady.
But instead of backing down in the face of the expected elitist criticism,
like we have seen in 2 instances against President Trump. Last week, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris said that everyone who showed up to President Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden was a... That's despicable, dangerous, divisive rhetoric that is spewed by the Democrat Party every single day. And that's why today in 2024, President Trump is more popular than he has been since 2016, because people don't trust the media.
And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Mm-hmm. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because Black people couldn't get into colleges. I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework, because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Mm-hmm. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because Black people couldn't get into colleges, because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not Black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was a person's world.
According to Joy, the only reason Karoline has a career is because Trump sees her as a 10. Then Whoopi Goldberg jumped in, throwing logic aside in favor of an emotional rant. She argued that without wokeness, Karoline wouldn't even have a joke. The hypocrisy was overwhelming, so obvious it could be cut with a knife. And just when things seemed like they couldn't get worse, the View hosts kept making it worse for themselves. But Karoline wasn't about to sit there and take the attacks quietly. She fired back with a response so sharp it struck exactly where it hurt. Predictably, Whoopi tried to turn it into a racial issue, but Karoline refused to let that slide. Rather than ignoring the nonsense, she went straight for the jugular. She didn't just respond, she completely obliterated them. Every insult they hurled at her was flipped right back in a brutal takedown. In a viral, no-holds-barred response, Karoline exposed The View for what they truly are: a panel of out-of-touch elites who claim to support women, but only when those women share their opinions. She didn't hold back. Joy Behar became the perfect example of modern feminism's hypocrisy, talking about empowering women while tearing down any woman who doesn't follow their script. Then she turned her attention to Whoopi. Whoopi's claim that she wouldn't have a job without wokeness was laughable, considering The View's panel is made up of unqualified hires pushed forward by diversity quotas. But Karoline wasn't done yet. She saved her most ruthless line for Sunny Hostin, calling out her privilege in a way that left no room for argument. Then came the knockout blow. Karoline exposed The View's true agenda. They don't want strong women. They want obedient ones. Within minutes, her response exploded across social media. Hashtags like #CancelTheView and #Karoline Levels The View started trending worldwide. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube were flooded with reactions. That's when things took a turn for the worse for The View. They had underestimated Karoline, thinking they could attack her and move on. Instead, they handed her a massive PR win. Now, ABC executives are in full panic mode. According to leaked reports, producers are furious that this situation has spiraled into a major crisis. The rumors are flying. Some ABC executives are now wondering if Joy, Behar, and Whoopi Goldberg have become more of a liability than an asset. The fallout is escalating. Sponsors are backing away, unwilling to be associated with The View's toxic reputation. Behind the scenes, ABC is allegedly begging Karoline to drop any legal action before things get even worse. But here's the most shocking part even. The View's own audience is turning against them. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. The View claims to support women, but they mock any woman who doesn't align with their beliefs. Karoline Leavitt just exposed them for the frauds they are. And just when it seemed like things couldn't go further downhill, they did. The consequences are stacking up. For years, The View has played with fire, but this time, they may have finally pushed too far. The backlash is out of control, their hypocrisy is undeniable, and ABC is facing a tough decision. Will they double down, or will they finally clean house? At this point, they may have to make the ultimate choice either. Fire the problematic hosts or cancel the show entirely. Because, let's be real, The View thrives on controversy. But when the outrage outweighs the ratings boost, the end is inevitable. And right now, they're hanging on by a thread. Damage control isn't working, sponsors are pulling out, and ABC is running out of moves. Could this be the moment that finally brings down The View for good? Are we witnessing the beginning of the end for daytime TV's most controversial show? Now it's your turn. Did The View finally push things too far? Is Karoline's response the wake-up call the media desperately needed?